The rain poured steadily over the city of Portland, soaking the streets and bringing a damp chill to the air. Emma Carter tightened her coat around her shoulders, holding tightly to her young son Liam's small hand. The two walked past puddles on the sidewalk, Emma's mind racing with overdue bills and a string of failed interviews. She had lost her job 2 months ago, and despite her efforts, every door seemed to close in her face. But no matter how hard things got, Emma refused to give up. "Are you cold, Liam?" Emma asked, squeezing his hand a little tighter. Liam shook his head, a small smile on his face. "I'm okay, Mom. We'll be fine." His hopeful words were like a ray of light cutting through the darkness. When Emma received an email inviting her for an interview with the Foster family, she felt a glimmer of hope for the first time in weeks. They needed a personal chef and caretaker, and Emma knew she could do it. Taking a deep breath, Emma silently promised herself, no matter what it took, she would give Liam a better future. The taxi pulled up in front of a grand home nestled in a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Portland. Emma gazed up, her eyes widening in awe. Before her stood the Foster estate, an imposing mansion with marble columns, manicured gardens, and an ornate iron gate. "Wow, Mom!" Liam exclaimed, his eyes round with wonder. "Is this a castle?" Emma chuckled softly, brushing back Liam's hair. "Maybe, kiddo, but right now we need to show them that I belong here." Leading Liam through the gate, Emma walked to the front door. It swung open to reveal a tall man in his 40s. Ethan Foster, the homeowner, stood with the composed air of someone used to command. He wore a tailored suit, but his face bore the weariness of a man carrying too much. "Miss Carter," Ethan said, his deep voice polite but distant. "Welcome to my home." "Thank you, Mr. Foster. This is my son, Liam." Ethan glanced down, his expression softening at the sight of Liam. "Hello, Liam. I hope you'll feel at home here." Emma followed Ethan inside. The interior was no less magnificent. Polished wooden floors, art-lined walls, and a dazzling crystal chandelier. She felt like she had stepped into another world. But Olivia, Ethan's 8-year-old daughter, pulled her sharply back to reality. The girl stared at Emma and Liam, her gaze icy and distant, as if to say, "You don't belong here." The first evening at the Foster estate proved to be a challenging one for Emma. While she busied herself preparing dinner, Liam tried chatting with Olivia, but his efforts were met with nothing but cold silence. "Would you like to help me cook, Olivia?" Emma asked, hoping to spark some connection. Olivia folded her arms and frowned. "I don't need anyone to cook for me. My mom always did it herself." Her words hung in the air like a sharp knife. Emma took a deep breath. "Your mom must have been an amazing cook," she replied, her tone calm. "But if you give me a chance, I could make something you'd like." When dinner was served, however, Olivia flatly refused to eat. "I'm not hungry," she said, pushing her plate away. Ethan sighed, shooting Olivia a warning glance, but the girl simply bowed her head and stared at her napkin. Sitting next to Olivia, Liam glanced at her plate and grinned. "Are you sure? This roast is really good," he said with cheerful enthusiasm. Olivia shot him a glare, but didn't reply. After dinner, Emma returned to the kitchen to clean up. When she walked in, she noticed a few cooking utensils had been rearranged haphazardly. It didn't take long for her to figure out who the culprit was. Instead of getting angry, Emma calmly put everything back in place and said, loudly enough for Olivia to hear, "Looks like this kitchen needs a little organization, doesn't it?" That night, as Emma passed the living room, she heard the faint sound of a piano. Peeking in, she saw Olivia playing a soft, melancholy tune. Emma stood quietly by the door, mesmerized by the girl's talent. When the song ended, Emma spoke softly. "That was beautiful, Olivia. I'm really impressed." Olivia turned to glance at her, a flicker of emotion crossing her face before she quickly looked away without a word. The next few days at the Foster estate were still challenging, but Emma started noticing small shifts in Olivia's behavior. The girl remained reserved, but was no longer entirely ignoring her. One afternoon, while Liam was playing in the garden, Emma decided to sit with Olivia in the living room. She brought a small apple tart and placed it on the table between them. "I hope you like apple tarts. This is a recipe my mom used to make when I was little," Emma said gently. Olivia eyed the tart, a flicker of curiosity in her expression. "Was your mom a chef?" Olivia asked, breaking the silence. Emma shook her head. "No, she worked at a little bakery, but she always said cooking was her way of showing love." Olivia stayed quiet for a moment, then said, "My mom used to bake with me too, but now no one does anymore." Her voice trailed off as she looked down. Emma placed her hand lightly on the table, not pushing Olivia to say more. "Losing someone you love is really hard, Olivia. I understand how that feels." Olivia's eyes widened slightly. "You've lost someone too?" Emma nodded. "Liam's dad, my husband. Liam was very little then, but we got through it because we had each other." Emma's story seemed to strike a chord with Olivia. That evening, Olivia played a new piano piece for Emma and Liam. When she finished, Liam clapped enthusiastically. "You're amazing," he said with admiration. Olivia blushed slightly but smiled, a real, genuine smile for the first time since Emma had arrived. The next day, Emma and Liam organized a small picnic in the garden. Emma purposely invited Olivia, but wasn't surprised when the girl declined. However, as she watched Liam kick a ball around, Olivia couldn't resist and eventually joined in. The three of them played until the sun began to set. Before heading back inside, Olivia hesitated for a moment before saying, "Thank you for today, Miss Carter." Emma smiled, feeling as though Olivia's defensive walls were finally starting to come down. Things seemed to be progressing well, but tension began to rise when Ethan misunderstood Emma's intentions. One afternoon, while Emma was tidying up the living room, she noticed Olivia holding an old painting, a piece Charlotte, Olivia's mother, had created before she passed away. "You like to fix the frame on this? I think with a little cleaning and a new frame, it would look as good as new," Emma suggested gently. Olivia nodded, and the two began working on the painting together. When Ethan walked into the room, he stopped abruptly, his gaze freezing on Emma and Olivia as they worked. "What are you doing?" he asked, his tone firm. Emma looked up, surprised. "We're just fixing the frame on this painting." Olivia wanted to keep it in better condition. Ethan stepped closer, his voice tinged with tension. "That painting is very personal to Olivia and Charlotte. You shouldn't interfere with things like this." His words hung heavy in the air. Olivia looked up, alarmed by her father's tone. "I asked Ms. Carter to help, Dad," Olivia protested, her voice filled with emotion. Emma took a steady breath and replied calmly, "I don't mean to replace anyone, Mr. Foster. I only want to help Olivia preserve the memories that matter to her." Ethan stood silent for a moment, his face softening. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, turning to Olivia. "If this is what you want, then go ahead." Later that evening, as the aroma of Emma's cooking filled the kitchen, Olivia appeared quietly at the doorway. Her small voice broke the silence. "Thank you for not leaving when Dad got upset," she said, her vulnerability evident in her words. Emma knelt down, placing a reassuring hand on Olivia's shoulder. "I'm not going anywhere, Olivia. I'm here to help, no matter how hard it gets." One peaceful afternoon in the Foster garden, Liam and Olivia were playing with a kite Ethan had recently bought for them. Caught up in the fun, Olivia noticed the kite get stuck in a tall tree. Determined to retrieve it, she began climbing. "Be careful, Olivia," Emma called out from a distance, worry evident in her voice as she watched the girl climb higher and higher. But Olivia, stubborn and eager to prove herself, continued upward. Suddenly, a branch snapped. Olivia slipped and began to fall. In an instant, Emma sprinted forward, catching the girl just before she hit the ground. The momentum knocked them both onto the grass, but thankfully, neither was seriously hurt. "Are you okay, Olivia?" Emma asked, checking her over for injuries. Olivia trembled, her eyes wide with fear. I thought I was going to fall hard," she whispered. Emma pulled Olivia into a gentle embrace, stroking her back to calm her. "You're safe now. I won't let anything happen to you." Ethan arrived moments later, his face full of concern. "Olivia, are you hurt? Why would you climb up there?" Olivia lowered her head, her voice barely audible. "I just wanted to get the kite back." Ethan knelt, wrapping his arms around her. "Nothing is more important than your safety. Next time, ask me or Ms. Carter for help, okay?" That evening, after Olivia had gone to bed, Ethan found Emma in the kitchen. "Thank you," he said sincerely. "I don't know what would have happened if you weren't here." Emma gave him a small smile. It's what anyone in a family would do. After the garden incident, Emma realized that it wasn't just Olivia who carried unresolved pain. Ethan did too. Late one night, after everyone had gone to bed, Emma found Ethan sitting alone in the living room, his eyes fixed on an old photo of Charlotte and Olivia. "You miss her a lot, don't you?" Emma asked softly, her voice carrying the kind of understanding only someone who has felt loss could offer. Ethan looked up, startled by the compassion in her tone, his guarded expression giving way to vulnerability. "I do," he admitted with a heavy sigh. "Charlotte was my world. After she passed, I didn't know how to be a father or even a person anymore." He chuckled bitterly. "I always feel like I'm failing Olivia." Emma sat down beside him, her voice gentle. "I don't think you failed her. Olivia is strong, and that strength comes from the love you've given her. But even the strongest people need a little help sometimes." In the weeks that followed, Emma became Ethan's confidant. They spoke about Charlotte, the things Ethan loved about her, and the pain he had buried deep inside. Each conversation helped Ethan open up a little more, easing his guilt and showing him that it was okay to love again without betraying Charlotte's memory. One evening, as Emma was preparing dinner, Ethan walked into the kitchen. He watched her for a moment, a small smile forming on his lips. "You always seem to know how to make this house feel warmer," he said. Emma paused, glancing at him with surprise. "I just do small things, but if it helps, I'm glad." "No, Emma," Ethan said, stepping closer. "You've done so much more than that. You haven't just helped Olivia, you've helped me. I don't think I remembered how to smile until you came into our lives." Emma felt the depth of his words, something unspoken yet undeniable. But she didn't respond with words. Instead, she gave him a quiet, understanding smile. They stood there for a moment, the silence between them no longer a barrier but a shared connection. After Ethan began opening up to Emma, he started to notice Liam more, the cheerful boy who still carried the quiet ache of missing his late father. Ethan realized that while Liam seemed outgoing and friendly, he was searching for a father figure in his life. One morning, as Emma busied herself in the kitchen, Ethan decided to invite Liam to join him in the backyard. "Hey kiddo, want to help me fix up Olivia's old bike?" Ethan asked, patting Liam's shoulder lightly. Liam looked up at him, surprised but excited. "Really? I've never fixed a bike before." "Me neither," Ethan chuckled, "but we can figure it out together." The two spent the morning under the gentle sunlight, carefully repairing the bike's worn-out wheels and chatting as they worked. Ethan asked Liam about his interests, and the boy eagerly shared his dream of becoming a scientist and the little experiments his mom had helped him do at home. When they finished fixing the bike, Liam turned to Ethan, hesitating for a moment before saying, "I think you're kind of like a dad, the kind who's always there." Ethan was caught off guard by Liam's words, but smiled, placing a hand on the boy's shoulder. "Thank you, Liam. I'm not sure how good I'd be at being a dad, but if you ever need someone, I'll always be here for you." That evening, Emma noticed Liam couldn't stop talking about his bike repair day with Ethan. His excitement and radiant smile were something she hadn't seen since they moved into the Foster estate. When Ethan walked into the kitchen, Emma quietly said, "Thank you, Ethan. You haven't just helped Olivia. You've given Liam something he's been missing for so long." Ethan smiled softly, replying, "It's something I should have done sooner. Kids don't just need their moms, they need someone to stand beside them, too." After months of challenges, the foster home was now filled with laughter and happiness. Olivia had fully opened up to Emma, her initial reservations replaced with trust and warmth. Liam and Olivia had become as close as siblings, often playing pranks and filling the house with joy. One golden afternoon, Ethan gathered everyone in the backyard for a surprise. As they stepped into the garden, the sight before them was breathtaking. A long wooden table draped with fresh linens, adorned with blooming flowers and surrounded by lanterns that glowed like fireflies in the twilight. The air was filled with the soft hum of summer, and Emma's breath hitched at the thoughtful details Ethan had poured into the moment. Olivia and Liam cheered excitedly while Emma stood still, her eyes shimmering with emotion. Ethan stepped closer, gently taking her hand. "Emma," he began, his deep voice steady but filled with emotion. "You've changed my life, Olivia's and Liam's. You've shown me that family isn't just about blood. It's about the people we love and trust most." He knelt down, pulling a small box from his pocket and opening it to reveal an elegant ring. Olivia and Liam held their breath, their eyes wide with anticipation. "Emma Carter, will you do me the honor of becoming a permanent part of this family?" Ethan asked, his gaze unwavering. Emma's voice caught in her throat as tears streamed down her face, but her smile was radiant. She looked at Olivia and Liam, who both nodded eagerly, before turning back to Ethan. "Yes, I will," she said softly. Tears erupted as Olivia threw her arms around Emma, and Liam jumped up and down with glee. Ethan slipped the ring onto Emma's finger, and the family gathered together, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun. That night, under a blanket of stars, Emma felt a profound sense of peace. She knew that she and Liam had finally found the place where they truly belonged, a family filled with love and hope for the future.